we're doing this week. Usually the first week of the month I try to do Powerful Packs. However, I'm not sure if I'm going to get my Powerful Pack this week. I don't have an ETA on it, so I didn't want to not do a video. So let's just do Pull from the Jar and we'll move on from there. So for those that don't know, I've created this by series, thinking of some prompts to use some of my old stash, some things that I don't use very often, just so that I will use them, like polymer clay, just all different kind of things. So let's see. Oh, so I have not done this in a while. Do 3 create this book pages. All right, so that is what we're going to do this week. 3 pages. Okay, well, all right, let me get the book out and let me decide what pages I want to do, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so the first page I'm doing is page 15, create a pet. And over here is where I'm going to create him, I think. I'm just, this is something out of my imagination. It's not a real animal. Thought that would be fun. So I'm just going to quickly sketch him up. I start with the create a pet, and I sketched out, he's an alien, but he is my pet. I've named him Stanford, and then I've drawn everything that he loves to eat. He loves to eat red chili peppers and dill pickles and flowers, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and ice cream. But I only give him ice cream just a little. I don't want him too fat. He is more of a bunny type creature, but he is not a bunny, because he has a fluffy tail, and he's very, very fluffy, and he's different colors. I decided I wanted to make him a lot of different colors, so that is what I did. And just using blues and pinks and purples and blending. Funny thing is, I totally did not see a level of my colored pencils. Yeah. I was like, man, there should be more colors, but I didn't think to keep looking in my tin until after I was putting them away. So some of the colors I could have used. Now, what I did for the colored pencil, I used color penciled on the first 2 pages, and I would use the darker color to kind of do the shading work, and then use the lighter color and just blend. I eventually, on the second drawing, find my colorless blending blender. That is what it's called, colorless blender, to help blend all this stuff. At first, like this page, I struggled with just using the different colors and even white to try to blend, because, you know, I totally forgot about the colorless blender, because I almost thought about using baby oil on it, and I was like, no, these pages will not be able to take that, the paper itself, you know. So I was like, and then I found a burnisher, and then I was like, no, I've got something else, and I finally found it on the second page. Okay, now this guy, I love him. However, I goof his face up. I end up putting blue on his face, and it darkens it up, and I hated it. So when I do him again, because he is going to be one of my little characters, I will eventually not any blue in his face at all. He didn't need it. But now we're on his tail, and I'm just using all the different colors. I should have put green in it, looking back on it, but you know, he's a new character. You kind of have to, this right here. You see that? Oh gosh. I do it all over his face eventually. I don't think I show it, but oh my gosh, it looks awful. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. It just darkens him up so much, and I don't like it. Then I moved on to the pickles, and I do fuss with him a little bit more, but I don't show it, you know, because I was not happy with that dark green face. I wish I would not have done that. Yeah, but it is what it is. I wish I would have distributed the green a little bit more looking back on this. Like put more green in his body, maybe even more blue in his face. I think it would have been more cohesive. Some green in his tail, kind of to make him, you know. And then here's another thing that I hate that I did is I try to put a shell underneath them and it just looks like, blech, I don't like it either. And there, you know, I'm using the white thinking that's going to blend everything. So I'm like, no, let's just move on to what he eats. And I just do the same thing. This is a lot of rinse and repeats with this, just because colored pencil is a lot of layering to get the colors that you want, you know. And so I'm showing on this first page more of what I do of the blending, using different colors and just going on top, using different pressure too. The lighter color or the lighter pressure, you know, the less color gets on the page. The harder, of course, the more pigment gets on the page. But I really enjoyed using the colored pencils. I don't use them very much, and I have still only taken that one lesson. I've still yet to finish that course that I started months ago. But I learned a lot in the one lesson that I watched with them. I feel like my color, even though this don't look great, but it looks better than what it used to look like. And then once I find my blending pencil, it looks a lot better. And again, this is when I'm making the ice cream. I'm like, man, I should have lighter colors, like a lighter color for the vanilla ice cream. Not thinking to look one more layer down, Gina. So yeah, he likes strawberry creams with some strawberries in it. And then vanilla ice cream. Well, it's actually got chips in it, so it's like chocolate chip ice cream with sprinkles on top of that, of the chocolate sauce. And so there is Stanford. I love him so much. I do love the character. I just wish I would have colored him better. Now, the second page is a growth chart. So I thought of a life cycle of a pumpkin. And again, a lot of rinse and repeat, a lot of blending of different colors. And there's where I find my colorless blending pencil. Look at that magic. Look at it. So yeah, once I found that and started using it, oh my gosh, it makes a world of difference. And then here I am making the flower. And what I did when I wanted white was I took my lightest color of blue that I had, just did it as an outline, and then used white and then blend that together. Because, you know, you got to have some kind of color for it to look like a white flower. And again, just rinse and repeat on these other things. This is when the pumpkin actually starts to grow. And I did use indigo to make more of a shadow to kind of tell that this leaf was going over the pumpkin. And then the final pumpkin, the big guy, I used just different colors of oranges, making sure that the lighter color was down first, and then put in the darker colors over that. And then I'm going to also put yellow on it too, and just blend that as well to make it look like, and it's a light thing. And then there is my life cycle growth chart of a pumpkin. I really like the way that came out. Okay, let's talk about this. So this is a hot mess. It's a create color dispute, and what you're supposed to do is, like, a green tree is not a green tree, it's a pink tree. So it's like just weird colors for normal things, right? So I saw one of my paintings I had done, and I decided that I was going to do it kind of like that. It was a snowy landscape. So I thought, purple sun, orange sky, green clouds, pink, red grass, blue trees, and then gold snow. Y'all, it turns out to look like garbage. I ended up hating it so bad, so I'm not going to show any more of this. Okay, ugh. So here it is. I'm not crazy about it at all. I actually hate it a lot. I was going to leave it, but then I was like, no, I really hate it. And I thought about it overnight what I could do. I learned a lesson from it, contrast, and it just needed to have more simple shapes, I think. So I was going to leave it to learn my lesson, but I learned it, y'all, and I just could not phantom the thought of seeing this every time I opened up this book. So what do you do? You just put gesso over it. So that is what I did. I put gesso over it. It took 2 coats to cover it. And then my vision of what I really wanted it to look like, I ended up doing. So don't be afraid to start over. And again, I was going to leave it because I learned a lesson, but then I was like, no, not going to do it. So I sketched out simple shapes, simple thinking. I used the same colors as I did before, but now I have different values, different contrast. For the trees, I'm going to end up doing them in blue, but in the very far back trees, and this is what I tried to do with the other one, but it just was so muddy, is I'm using very light blue, and then for every stage closer, I put a little bit more blue in it to give it more contrast. Because that's what happens, far away it's light, and then the closer it gets to you, it becomes darker. And I end up really loving this piece now. I love it. It's one of the favorite things that I've done. Now, I did enjoy doing the other one too. I just hated the way it looked in the end. This one, I really, really enjoy it. Again, making sure I use details with Posca pens, and this one I loved. And you see the contrast. You see the difference. You can tell what it's supposed to be. Love it to death. So, this was the last page, and then we did the page with the growth chart with the pumpkin. I love that. And then, of course, my alien pet, whom is Stanford. I love him and all the things that he eats on a daily basis. So, I had so much fun doing these 3 pages. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, share it even, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. All those things support me and help my channel to grow, and I would appreciate it so much. All right, y'all be good to one another, and I'll see you next week. Bye.